So the Barrie Colts, they've already been to Ottawa twice this season, but this weekend, the 67's make their first trip to the Saddleton Arena. And today we're joined by Kenny Walls, the play-by-play voice of the 67's. Kenny, thanks for doing this. And are you ready for the road trip ahead?
Yeah, the first of many, I suppose, for the Ottawa 67s. Looking forward to it. Always fun to come to Barrie, interact with the fans right in front of the broadcast booth at the Saddleton Arena.
Yeah, it is an interesting one, especially for the visiting radio. You guys are like right in the thick of it at that end of the booth.
Yeah, it's not bad for the most part. The fans very courteous. They don't mind listening to me, I suppose. The one I have an issue with is in Barrie. It's the same people who have sat there for what seems like 15 years, and every once in a while they'll look up and ask you to kind of be quiet.
Hmm,
But it's at the visiting broadcast booth. You know what you're getting when you buy those tickets for 15 years in a row.
you would think.
Anyway, you would think, but some people enjoy the view from there, I suppose.
And of course, the reason for this extended road trip is the World Juniors are coming to Ottawa, and you're going to be missing the head coach for the course of this tournament, Dave Cameron, the head coach. So it's going to be a bit of a different look, I guess, so to speak, with having Cameron not there for this length of time.
It certainly will be. It's not something that the 67s haven't dealt with before, though. He coached the team just a couple of years ago when he first came to Ottawa. Before that, it was Andre Tourigny who coached the team, and Norm Milley was the assistant coach for each and every one of those times. So he knows what to expect. The team knows what to expect. Paul Stojkovic is the other assistant coach. They're in very capable hands. I wouldn't worry from that aspect of it. You are going to be losing a big piece though in Dave Cameron and the presence he has behind the bench, the way he interacts with officials, the veteran experience obviously that he has, and the coach that he is. So we'll see. It's not going to be an easy start to the road trip in Barrie, but should be a lot of fun. I think very highly of both 67's assistant coaches, and I think that they'll do just fine. 67's are also without their strength and conditioning coach, Sean Young, who is representing Canada, as well as their equipment manager, Chris Hamilton, who will be with Canada as well. So it'll be uh, either a short-staffed or a replacement-filled 67's executive support staff.
And for Ottawa this season, it's been not the best of starts. Obviously, with junior hockey, you have your cycles, you have your go for it years, and then your years where you're looking to the future. And it seems as though for Ottawa, starting to maybe look a little bit more to the future.
It would appear that way if you had told me that 3 years ago, 2 years ago, with the group of 2004 five born players that they had at their disposal. I don't know if I would have believed that. Uh, it hasn't turned out that way. They've got it's a 50-50 mix of young and old, where there's a bunch of new guys either barely played in the league last year or are brand new, and a lot of veteran guys. It's about a 50-50 split. So they're trying to work through that. It hasn't gone to plan. They've played some really good hockey, to be honest with you. It just hasn't gone their way. They've been in just about each and every game. There's two that I would say that they really had no shot in. Outside of that, they've been competitive and they just haven't had the scoring. Outside of Luca Pinelli, there hasn't been a consistent goal scorer for this team that they could rely upon on a regular basis.
And you mentioned how they are playing some pretty tight games. We saw that when they were on the road in London, where they forced the London Knights to a shootout. Obviously, they didn't get the extra point in that one, but it goes to show that this team does have fight, and they're willing to put it on the line night in, night out when they have the chance.
I think you'll see it at the World Juniors. The Dave Cameron coach team is a competitive team, and the fight will not leave them. He's got this group playing as hard as they can, and there are some players that give you their all. It's just sometimes their all isn't good enough to score on an OHL caliber goaltender. Other times, the younger guys stepping up and learning how to score at this level are really filling the holes, but when they're on their game, they can be competitive with anybody, including the London Knights. When they're not getting the saves from the goaltenders, when they're allowing grade A quality chances, you see the exact opposite of that in a 10-3 loss to the London Knights at home. So it can go Jekyll and Hyde a little bit, but for the most part, it's been really good for Ottawa.
And you mentioned Luca Pinelli again having a great run with the goal scoring. Obviously, trying out for Team Canada right now, so this is a big test for the depth players to get more ice time and to show that they can contribute offensively as well for Ottawa.
Yeah, it would have been a really nice time to have Philip Ekberg playing, but he's off representing Sweden at the World Junior A Challenge. So they don't have either Pinelli or Ekberg in the lineup, and those are two of their main offensive catalysts. It will be difficult for the 67s to score goals. It has been for quite a while now, but kids like Nick Whitehead have started to show a lot of promise and a lot of upward trajectory in their projection of what they can do. Kimmy Korbler hasn't picked up a point yet, but he does all the right things out on the ice, always in good position. Zach Hubin, a Stratford native, has shown some signs, and a couple Alliston kids in Chase Yanni as well as Nathan Amidovsky have both looked good. Amidovsky doesn't have a goal, but for kids, people in Barrie, they saw him playing U16 hockey. He had 40 goals in 33 games last year. The kid knows how to score. The puck follows him around, and it's just a matter of time. He's getting into the right spots. A little snake bitten right now, but I think once he gets the one, I like the way that he's progressing. Chase Yanni shows flashes. There's a lot to like with this 67's team offensively, but the guys who will be doing the scoring haven't quite gotten to that point where they can do it on a regular basis.
And you touched on the Swedish import there, Ekberg, and you get to see him night in, night out. Obviously, now he's at the juniors, but what's it like being to be able to see him? What stands out to you as the rest of the league? We're still getting used to him.
Yeah, it's been a slow burn for him. On the power play, he's looked unbelievable along the half wall. He scored a number of goals close to the bottom of the circles on a one-timer from the wall, where guys at this level don't score, and he's doing it as a 17-year-old. It's getting up to speed for him. I think that's the biggest thing is getting his feet moving, getting into position, finding the areas on the ice where he can be successful. And he's not far off from it, but he's right now, when he has been playing, he's been a little bit lower on in the lineup, playing with guys like Whitehead and Yanni. We'll see how it continues to develop when he comes back after the World Junior A Challenge. But I like the way that he thinks the game and off the ice, one of the funniest people I've ever met. He is an absolute treasure to be around. Uh, he's got the type of personality that's infectious and not afraid to speak up. He's adjusted quite well to life in Ottawa so far.
See, and that also helps too. You want to have that off ice character because that brings out the room.
Oh, it really does. And anytime he walks in, there's either, I don't know how to describe his personality because it's a little off the wall, it's a little quirky. He doesn't mind asking questions, and he's a European. He's Swedish, so he's got that personality going on as well. So there's a little bit of curtness. I think we see it in North America sometimes, but when he comes into the room asking questions, there's a sigh from some guys. There's a, oh, here we go again. I love listening to him talk and interacting with the other guys. And on the bus, it's a lot of fun to have conversations with him.
And another player on the team that's kind of stood out to me is goaltender Jaden Nelson, the young netminder. He seems to be rounding into form a bit here. Obviously, it's going to take him some time to get up to speed with the league. But for you seeing him, what's it like with his play?
Well, let's go back to his history. He was born in Ottawa, lived in Ottawa, moved to Toronto to play his U16 hockey because at that time the Ottawa system was a bit of a mess. They had U18 and it just didn't work out well. They've since switched back. But when he was drafted by Ottawa, he went to go play with the Navan Grads, and he took over. He stole the number one job in the CCHL, which is it's not unheard of, but it's rare for a
Mhm.
16-year-old to do that. Not only did he steal the job, but he was Rookie of the Year, CCHL Goalie of the Year, playoff MVP, and guided his team to the Centennial Cup. They didn't win, but he was the reason why they were able to make it that far. Tremendous talent. The athleticism is there, but it's the way that he positions himself. And as he calms down a little bit early in games, I think that's going to help him. He tends to allow a goal or two early and then settles in and doesn't allow anything else the rest of the way. He needs to get a little bit of the bad goal syndrome out of his game, but he is a tremendous goalie, and he's just getting up to speed at the OHL level. He's going to be something special. I don't know where he's going to get drafted, but somebody's going to take a flyer on him at some point, and I think he's going to be playing pro hockey for a long time.
Yeah, and the games I've been able to see, I've been pretty impressed with Nelson's play. And another thing that was really cool for this year for Ottawa is bringing in Brian Kilrea to celebrate his 90th birthday. Uh, just talk about how important and how meaningful it is to have Kilrea still being with the team and just to be able to honor him as he celebrated that milestone.
Well, it's cool because he's at nearly every game anyway. Still sitting up on his perch to our broadcast right over here, sitting with Bert O'Brien, longtime assistant coach and good friend of Brian Kilrea. His meaning to this organization, to this city, it goes beyond just hockey. The way that he has developed young men and young people in this area, and the graduates from the Ottawa 67's can be spread out. And you talk to any one of them, and it's not just that he made them a good hockey player with the same practice that he ran every day all year long. It's the life lessons that he taught, and being courteous at the restaurants that you stopped in at, going to the same place every time, thanking your waitress, thanking the owner who was there. All these things were Brian Kilrea led, and it led to good young men who grew up into good men for the most part. Uh, you talk to any one of them, and it's basically the same thing. But you hear the stories, smoking cigars on the bus, having a beer or two. It's not the same now. The Anne Murray, the entire bus ride. Uh, I love hearing Brian Kilrea stories. Reading his book that James Duthie did is tremendous, and getting to sit with him and hear him tell those stories is even better because it's the same way. I can't get enough of Brian Kilrea. Anytime I see him here, I stop in, have a brief chat, and get my killer experience before the game.
And it looks like when he was out there interacting with everyone, it looks like he could get right back on the bench if he really wanted to, even though he's at the age of 90.
Yeah, he's looking good. He's as sharp as ever. It has not dwindled in the least. He's still got one liner after one liner. He goes out golfing 2-3 times a week when the weather's nice out at Rideau View here in Ottawa. Yeah, he's sharp as a tack, and yeah, I'll forever be grateful that I got a nickname from Killer, and uh, those ones stick for a long time when you get one.
Oh, no doubt. But
Yeah.
Kenny, thank you very much for doing this. And it's always great to hear from the other teams. And hopefully you're ready for your long road trip ahead.
Well, nice little 6-hour drive after the game against Peterborough here tonight, and we'll get on our way. It'll be wonderful.
Well, enjoy the broadcast, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks.
So that's Ottawa 67's play-by-play voice, Kenny Walls, and it's always great to catch up with fellow broadcasters. And yeah, what a road trip coming up for the 67's. It's a 9-game road trip starting in Barrie Saturday night. They also have their Michigan trip in there, so they're going to be away for quite a while. But still, it's always good to catch up with Kenny Walls from the Ottawa 67's broadcast. So again, thank you very much for your support. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Talk to you again soon.